Good morning, students. We have done three poems. First one, My Mother 66, written by Kamla Das. Second one, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Spender. Third, Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Now uh, know, we will try to understand the fourth poem, A Thing of Beauty, written by John Keats. First of all, his life was very short. He was born in 1795 and died in 1821, means in 25 years. He was a British romantic poet. Although he was trained to be a surgeon, Keats decided to devote himself wholly, means completely, to poetry. Keats' secret, his power to sway and delight the readers, lies primarily in his gift for perceiving the world and living his moods and aspirations in terms of language. If I talk about John Keats, he was a romantic poet. And if I talk about this term romantic poets were totally different from neoclassical age English in the development of English literature. Romantic poets were the poets who basically emphasized on expressing their feelings. They were completely different from their thinking was completely different from neoclassical age. The poets of neoclassical age. The poets of neoclassical age did not express their feelings, but romantic poets believed in expressing what they had in their mind. And basically, the poets of this age brought out the importance of beauty of nature. They have told things, or they have emphasized on the things related to nature's beauty. I suppose this thing is clear. Although John Keats was a surgeon, he decided to devote his life to poetry. He decided to be a poet, and he brings out the elements of love and admiration through his poems. The following means this poem, A Thing of Beauty, is an excerpt, is a short piece of writing taken from his poem Endymion, which was a poetic romance. Endymion, a poetic romance, is the name of the complete poem, not only Endymion. Endymion, a poetic romance. From this poem, A Thing of Beauty has been taken. The poem is based on Greek legend. Endymion, a poetic romance. This poem is based on a Greek legend, Greek story, in which Endymion, he was a beautiful young shepherd and poet who lived on Mount Latmos. This Endymion, he was a shepherd and a poet. He lived on Mount Latmos. There he had a vision of Cynthia, who was Cynthia, the moon goddess. The enchanted youth resolved to seek her out and so wandered away through the forest and down under the sea. Uh, that shepherd, that poet, was attracted towards moon goddess, as we know, we call moon very beautiful. So he happened to have the vision of Cynthia. When he had a look of her, he wanted to find her out. So he went searching for her in the forest under the sea. There he found the beauty of nature everywhere. This is the story related to the poem Endymion, a poetic romance. Now, if we talk about a thing of beauty, title of this poem, a thing of beauty means beauty of nature. In this poem, the poet says that a thing of beauty is a constant source of a source of constant joy. That means beauty is or can be found in nature. Beauty has an important role in bringing happiness and joy in this mundane world. The poet John Keats wants to highlight the importance of beauty, and this poem, A Thing of Beauty, also gives a message that beauty in any shape or form is a source of constant joy. It can transform lives. It is also highlighted that beauty has the ability to remove negativity from lives. I suppose up to this the things are clear. Now we will start or we will continue with the poem. Let's start with the poem. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. What kind of joy does a beautiful thing provide? It is given in this line that a beautiful thing provides us eternal and everlasting joy, the joy that never ends. I suppose first line is clear. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. What kind of joy do we get from perceiving a beautiful thing? Eternal and everlasting joy. Its loveliness increases. Its loveliness increases means it means the loveliness of a beautiful thing keeps increasing each time we visualize it. Every time we look at a thing of beauty, its beauty keep on increasing. It is given. It will never pass into nothingness. It here stands for the joy we get on perceiving a beautiful thing. Will never pass into nothingness. It never dies out or fades away. A thing of beauty provides us eternal and everlasting joy. Its loveliness increases. The loveliness of a beautiful thing keeps increasing when each time we visualize it. It will never pass into nothingness. The joy we get on perceiving a beautiful thing never fades away or dies out, but will keep a bower quiet for us. But will keep a bower quiet for us and a sleep full of sweet dreams. In in this line, the poet has presented before us the two sources of joy. First one is a quiet bower. Bower is a um, place, a shadeful place under a tree. A place of shade under the tree, as well as quiet bower to rest peacefully. And second is sleep full of sweet dreams. It provides us sound sleep, which is full of sweet dreams, blissful sleep full of pleasant dreams. Two sources of joys, I suppose, is clear to all of you. It will keep a bower quiet for us. Bower is a pleasant place under the shade of tree, and it provides us sound sleep full of sweet dreams and health, good health and quiet breathing, healthy environment to breathe in. Therefore, on every morrow, morrow means tomorrow, next day. Therefore, that's why on every day, are we breathing? That's why means because of a thing of beauty, We are every day, what are we doing every day? We are breathing. Breathing means weaving a flowery band to bind us to the earth. That's why every day we are weaving a flowery band to bind us to the earth. The memory, flowery bands here refers to the memories of beautiful things. What are we doing every day? We are the memory, we are keeping the memory of beautiful things in our minds. And how it helps us? It remains in our minds and strengthens our bond with earth every day. The poet says that every day we prepare flowery wreaths, means bands. We weave flowery bands to make our life beautiful and to remain connected with nature. What man is doing every day? Man is weaving, man is keeping the beautiful memories in his mind. The beautiful memories helps him live a happy life on this earth. This is just because of the memories connected to beauty. Beauty of nature, beauty of relationship, beauty of good time, that we are able to live life happily on earth. Thereafter, spite of despotence. Spite means in spite of. Despotence means hopelessness of the inhuman death. Inhuman death, death is lack of good nature, of noble natures. Although on earth, spite of despotence, we can perceive hopelessness. Although the earth is full of, the life of human being on earth is full of hopelessness, there is lack of noble nature. People are cruel, people are selfish. Of noble natures, noble nature means good nature, there is lack of good nature. Of the gloomy days, gloomy means sad days. Why our days gloomy? Our days are gloomy just because man is selfish and self-centered by nature. Why is there lack of noble nature? Because obviously man is selfish and self-centered by nature and he thinks of himself only. I suppose these two lines are also clear. Spite of despotence, of the inhuman death of noble natures, in spite of hopelessness, of lack of good nature, our days are gloomy. Why are our days gloomy? Just because of hopelessness and lack of good nature. Of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways. Unhealthy and over darkened ways here refers to trial and tribulations that one encounters in the journey of life. Made for our searching. Made for our searching. What is made for our searching? And made for our searching. Beta, made for our searching, it means no matter what difficulties we face or our evil and immoral ways had been, the thing of beauty is present to be searched by us. I suppose this line is clear for all of you. Made for our searching. Although we adopt in appropriate ways, although uh, we believe in doing wrong deeds, we adopt immoral ways, still the thing of beauty is present to be searched by us. It removes the gloom from our lives. Thereafter, in spite of all, in spite of all, in spite of all here stands for despondence, means hopelessness, lack of noble nature, trial and tribulations one encounters in the journey of life. In spite of all these negative things in life, in spite of all here stands for deceit, defeat, hopelessness, trial and tribulations. Beauty is there to be searched for. Thereafter, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. In first four lines, the poet has presented before us the definition of a thing of beauty. He states that a thing of beauty provides us eternal and everlasting joy. He states that the loveliness of a beautiful thing keeps increasing every time we look at it. It never passes into nothingness. The joy we get on perceiving a beautiful thing never dies out or fades away. But a thing of beauty provides us a pleasant place under the shade of tree. It provides a sound sleep full of sweet dreams, good health, and healthy environment to breathe in. That's why, just because of a thing of beauty, every day we are weaving a band of good memories so that we can remain connected with the earth. Spite of despondence means although there is lack of there is hopelessness in our life, there is lack of good nature, we are not noble in nature, our days become sad, we become the victim of trial and tribulations which we have to encounter in our journey of life. Still, beauty in any shape or form is there for our searching. We have to search for beauty. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. In spite of all, in spite of all, I just told you, in spite of all these negative things in our life, beauty in any shape or form has the pall. Pall means covering. Beauty in any shape or form has the power to remove darkness from our dark spirits. Dark spirits means hopeless spirit. We are hopeless, we are disappointed just because of negativity around us, because of selfishness of people around us. That's all for today, students. I hope everything I explained to you is clear